Since Islam is not a natural African religion, no one born from African ancestry should follow or even find anything worthy in it. Why? Islam instituted one of the longest dehumanization activity, slavery, torture, and outright racism towards melanin-dominant humans on earth. Up to today, they have not even apologized, even for modern slavery and all over the earth. This is our mission statement as Marfado. Is to help every melanin-dominant human experience effective cultural congruence by interacting with revered ancestors and divinities. Let us now continue to lay the facts why we say Islam is not a natural African religion. The first one is geographical. There is no Middle East. It's all Africa. Therefore, the African Union should not relate with the Arab League, but should force the Arab League to move out of Africa, and we claim all of our continent. Because Islam colonized the whole of so-called Middle East and was gifted it by the British, the French, and the Americans. Islam is not a natural African religion, spirituality, or a worthy culture for melanin-dominant humans. The reason is that it is a man-made system, a political system that seeks to take over the whole continent of Africa, as can be demonstrated by this map. Therefore, no melanin-dominant human being should follow it or support it. When it started, it destroyed melanin-dominant cultures and civilizations. It also destroys Ubuntu, which is our philosophy of life. And therefore, anyone who follows it is forced to ditch his or her ancestors, totems, language, music, and dance. Any Muntu who follows it is living a life in violation of Mahatic spirit and hates their ancestry. Islam used jihad, a military method of forced conversion, deception, and conquest. Jihad is a verbal noun derived from the word jahada, which means to strain, to strive, to exert, to endeavor, to fight. Therefore, they used the sword. They used the gun, the bomb, fear tactics to convert our brothers and sisters. If we say Islam is not a natural African religion, what about the Nation of Islam? First, you have to notice that the founder of the Nation of Islam, Master Farad, is a European, or was a European, or perhaps a mulatto white Arab. Master W.D. Farad founded the Nation of Islam, or the Black Muslim movement, in Detroit ghetto called Paradise Valley on 4th of July 1930. His original name was Wallace D. Fard, but he was also known by other aliases such as Farad Muhammad, F. Muhammad Ali, Wali Farad, and Professor Fard. Master Farad, through his friendly manner, was able to gain access to the homes of poor African Americans and began to teach them about their true religion, that it was not Christianity, but the religion of the black men of Asia and Africa, using both the Bible and the Quran. Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Louis Farrakhan, and many other prominent people may have spoken and taught, or may still be teaching vociferously, a message flavored with a bit of race consciousness and other platitudes. Yet they use the Quran, they believe in the founder of Islam, and they rarely condemn Islamic history, enslavement of black people. But they are very quick to castigate the Atlantic slave trade. They practice what is not culturally congruent, but Arabic culture. Therefore, in short, their brand of Islam is not a natural African religion. These are facts. Eloquence, political astuteness, or persuasiveness can be taught, but the person who teaches that can be practicing a wrong culture, like these two gentlemen here. Very good speakers, very good, eloquent, observant of events and current events and future trends, but they were practicing wrong culture. The current leader of the Nation of Islam, Is a Freemason, proving that his brand of Islam is not a natural African religion. Members of the Nation of Islam study the Quran, worship Allah as their God, and accept Muhammad as their prophet, while also believing in notions of black nationalism. All holy praise is due to Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. That is a statement that doesn't encourage anyone to even mention or remember your ancestors. So it's not a natural African religion. Here is more proof that Islam is not a natural African religion. The doctrines that is taught in some of the sections in their holy book, the Quran. Muslims teach and uphold Jesus, whom we know never existed as a single human being, but is a conglomeration and agglutination of various Roman and Greco deities originating from ancient Africa. What do Muslims believe about Jesus? In Surah 345, they say, "Behold, the angel said, O Mary, God gives thee glad tidings of a word from him. His name will be Messiah, Jesus the son of Mary, held in honor in this world and the hereafter, and of the company of those nearest to God." 46. He shall speak to the people in childhood and in maturity, and he shall be of the righteous. But the Jesus spoken about here, called the Messiah, called the Christos, called the divine or the messenger, did not exist. He emerges squarely as an entity of the many debates by the humans, organizations, especially between the Coptic African monophysites and the diaphysitic Christians, on the nature of a created entity that was created 300 BC, known as Serapis, by Sota, a creature. This proves once more that anyone who teaches about Jesus, that Jesus is a Christ, is following a Roman Greco culture. This is how it was all done. We have said a lot about this because it is very, very interesting and very, very important. Islam is not a natural African religion. It teaches the virgin birth, which is an error. I say here in Surah Al-Baniya 2191, and she, Mary, guarded her chastity, which is virginity. So we breathed a spirit into her through our angel, and we made her and her son a sign for the world. And then Matthew 1:23 teaches us that, "Behold, a virgin shall be with a child and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel," which being interpreted is God with us. They translate all this from Isaiah 7:14, where they say a virgin shall give birth. First, the word virgin is not mentioned in Isaiah 7:14, which means the Quran is wrong and in error. And the Bible or the New Testament is wrong and is in error because it selected a term that was not and that is not in the original. Other Bibles are now correcting this error by saying a young woman. In any case, Mary had a husband known as Joseph, and the genealogy of Jesus includes Joseph as his father. In that case, Emmanuel or Betula would be a more common way to refer to a woman who has never had sexual relation with a man. Instead, Isaiah uses the word Alma, which means a young woman. No one born of African ancestry should follow Islam. Their scholars taught disparaging remarks about every black person on earth. Throughout many Arabic texts, you will find and you will detect a mild dislike and hatred of blacks or black Arab. Abdallah narrated this statement in Sahih Bukhari 9, given here. He says that the Prophet said, "I saw in a dream a black woman with unkempt hair going out of Medina and settling at Mahia al-Jufa. I interpreted that as a symbol of epidemic of Medina being transferred to that place." Islamic scholars taught disparaging racial ideology about every black person. This is Ibn Khaldun Muqaddimah, 14th century, a scholar of immense popularity in Islamic circles. He says, "Therefore the Negro nation are, as a rule, submissive to slavery, because Negroes have little that is essential human, and have attributes that are quite similar to those of dumb animals, as we have stated." He continues to say, "Beyond known people of black West Africa to the south, there is no civilization. Yet we had Great Zimbabwe, and we had Mapungubwe, and we've all had all the powerful civilizations. He says, therefore, there are only humans who are closer to dumb animals than to rational beings. They live in thickets and caves and eat herbs and unprepared grain. They frequently eat each other. They cannot be considered human beings. This is what Islamic scholars taught and wrote. It's there, the books are there. If all types of men are taken from the first and one place after another, like the Negro from Zanzibar, in the southernmost countries, the Negro does not differ from an animal in anything except the fact that his hands have been lifted from the earth in no other peculiar or property except that for what God wished. Many have seen that the ape is more capable of being trained than the Negro and a more intelligent. This is what the Grand Ayatollah Nasir al-Din al-Tusawad Turat says. So you follow such a religion. Islam should never be any melanin-dominant human faith. A few examples continue here. Negroes are the children of Ham, the son of Noah, and they were singled out to be black as the result of Noah's curse, which produced Ham's color and the slavery God inflicted upon his descendants. And from Tabari, 9th century, quoting others, said Noah prayed that Ham's color would be changed, and that his descendants would be slaves to the children of Shem and Japheth. Or quoting the father Ibn Atta, Ham begat all those who are dark, who are black and curly-haired. Noah prayed that the hair of Ham's descendants would not grow beyond their ears, and that wherever his descendants met the children of Shem, the latter would enslave them. Now, Bukhari also continues to say, the prophet said, let the Negro slave of Dinah perish, and if he is pierced with a thorn, let him not find anyone to take it out for him. If he, the black slave, asks for anything, it shall not be granted, and if he needs intercession to get into paradise, his intercession will be denied. Another hadith quotes Muhammad saying, do not bring black into your pedigree. So the Islamic law, the Sharia, also classical Islamic law, allows a light-skinned Muslim man to marry a black woman, but a black Muslim man is restricted from marrying a light-skinned woman. As the literature of the time put it, only a whore prefers blacks. The good woman will welcome death rather than being touched by a black man. What a travesty. And you find people defending this. Abid, or Abid, plural of Abdi, is an Arabic word meaning servant or slave. The term is widely used in the Arab world as an ethnic slur for black people, and it dates back to the Arab slave trade. No one born of melanin-dominant parents or ancestry should consider Islam as their religion due to how it treats women. All you who have chosen to be graced with the belief it is not lawful for you to force women into marrying or holding onto them the marriage against their will. Very good statement. But the same chapter, Quran 4:34 in Arabic text here given, is teaching that women should be beaten. The phrase idribo huna, given here in blue, which appears in the Quran 4:34 highlighted in blue there, means beat them. There is no other way around that. Islam is not a natural African religion. Therefore, no one born from African ancestry should follow Islam. Now we want to ask the question, what happened to millions of male slaves? The Arabs raided sub-Saharan Africa for 13 centuries without interruption. Most of the millions of men they took disappeared as a result of inhuman treatment, and also the practice of castration on black male slaves in the most inhuman manner. This altered the whole population and stopped these men from reproducing them and also having descendants. You can see here these are eunuchs and concubines of the Ottoman Sultan in 1929. All these were castrated. These few facts given here proves that Islam is not a natural African religion. It should never be followed by any conscious African or melanin dominant human. Now, we want to conclude by quoting from the teacher and the leader, Naiu Osahon, who teaches us that Jerusalem was captured by the Arabs in 638 CE. Rakodzis, which was renamed Alexandria, fell in 643 CE. In 698 CE, they captured Carthage. Therefore, at that time, the whole of North Africa became under their rulership. That's how it was changed from black to white. Arabs did not move into the region until much later into the southern part of Africa. The Arabs began to invade Africa in large numbers from 749 CE. When they settled in Alexandria, Egypt, they were mistaken and seen as African cousins and were welcomed as saviors from the then oppressive rule of the Byzantium Greco-Roman domination. The Arabs did not directly force their religion on the African Egyptians at first. That followed later. But unlike Christianity, Islam could not be translated into local languages. So all people were forced to speak Arabic. That's what we see, and their culture changes. Your language changes and your culture changes. It is true that Arabs have a mortal hatred and an appetite for slaving and enslaving and colonizing and destroying black people. We must never follow these religions because they are not ours. Ubuntu Maati ideals gave birth to all these religions. That is our natural religion, which generates our real spirituality. Ubuntu Maati consciousness, Hamiticians. That is what generates our power. As long as we know Isfet and Maati, it is time to be yourself again. For more, send us an email on join@marfado.com so that we become members of the Universal Ubuntu Maati Spirit Marifado Family Group. Subscribe to our channel, Kamiti Hebrew Ethics, especially our LM saying we are rebuilding our greatness. Tatendas Yabonga Enkos.